Fitin10 Nation, welcome to day 64, and last video, actually the last two videos, I talked about positive reinforcement with dieting, and I want to just touch upon that again because it's a really important topic. I may have given the impression that if you cheat, you're going to
die.
If you go off your diet, you're going to
die.
You're not going to die. You're going to maybe pull yourself away from your diet even more, and this is not the case if you do planned meals out. Okay, or planned, what I like to call reward meals. Okay, so, and this just gives you a bit of a mental break. It allows you to just taste a bit of food. But the point is if you plan it, rather than just doing it spontaneously, you're still gonna positively reinforce your diet because it was something that was planned, and so it's part of the greater picture.
Absolutely.
But if you break your diet just out of a point of weakness, and you eat whatever, something you're not supposed to. Okay, something that's off your plan, then this is going to be negative reinforcement. This is this might cause you to spiral more away from your diet. So basically, what I'm saying here is although I don't promote it in the 10-week challenge.
Absolutely.
As part of your lifestyle, doing a planned reward meal is something that I'd recommend. But I think you had something you wanted to talk about, so maybe we'll go there.
So I just wanted to mention, I mentioned to you that one of my clients did something really interesting yesterday that I am very much against, and that is that at the time of training, this person showed up, and when I asked, what have you done for food during the day, there was a lot of mention about protein, which everything is written down, so that's very positive for me. Lots of protein, some fat, but virtually no carbohydrates. And I was shocked because in order to train efficiently, you have to have some carbohydrates available.
Maybe you mean effectively.
Both of them.
Sure.
Whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was really shocked. I was like, I would never go, and have a training session and not be, fully, properly, fed and then rested and then watered or hydrated and everything. So I was like, why would you not eat carbohydrates? It's completely ridiculous. We promote the fact that you want to eat a balanced diet. And then the answer was because of my cheat meal tonight. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, the cheat meal is a meal for one that this person does never abuse. Always eats very, very clean cheat meals of the sort of, sushi, sashimi, edamame, and things of the sort. So I'm thinking this is almost like just a little bit of food indulgence that is very much a part of our programming. So why would you not eat carbs? And then basically the way this person was thinking is more like, I'd like to reserve, most of my carbs for the night. And I find it profoundly, I wouldn't say idiotic, but really it is, that's what we're talking about, like planning throughout the day and being, having like a certain balance of food and then being consistent with our foods. It's like there's so many negative that come from, reserving all your carbohydrates for later that I can't even, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, you have to think nutrition. It's not just calories. First of all, we're trying to set some good habits. So part of the good habits is eating nutritious food, eating a quote balanced diet. I know that gets thrown around a lot, but we want to be eating good sources of carbohydrates, fats, and of course protein. So, getting in this mindset of like, well, I really want to watch my calories, so when I go out, I'll reserve the calories for a dessert, or what if it's a restaurant, putting in a lot of stuff in there that's going to be calorie dense but not nutritionally dense.
Absolutely.
And so we want to make sure, regardless of what we're doing, we're getting in nutrition. It's not just about calories. We've got to think nutrition. We've got to think about creating habits and maintaining those habits.
Absolutely. And energy levels and mindset and everything. And it's like the idea that you would actually starve yourself like an entire day so you can go and eat all your calories at night is completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, it's something that you absolutely must put out of your head. You pre-plan your cheat meals, but you eat all your food the same way that you're supposed to. You wake up, you have your breakfast, it's rich in protein, in fat, it has some carbohydrates. When you're gonna go train, you will have your protein, your fat, your carbohydrates. You're gonna have plenty of water during the day, and then you're gonna have that indulgent meal at night. And then the next day, we will do the same thing again.
Well, the other aspect of this too is if you get in your good food, especially real whole food, single ingredient foods, I should be more specific really, that's what I mean. Single ingredient foods for the most part, single ingredient. You're going to be less hungry when you go into, the last thing you want to do, right, is go into a dinner and be like, oh man, you know, I've been, you know, holding myself back the whole day. I'm super hungry now.
I'm gonna have 5,000 calories.
Yeah, so just actually make it worse, and you might end up actually consuming more calories than you would have had you eaten.
Yeah.
You know.
Preemptively, absolutely.
Yeah, eat well. So, all right.
Talking about protein?
Protein. Let's talk about protein because I often get the question, how do I choose a protein powder? Is this a good protein powder? So, this is ATP Labs grass-fed whey. They have two different ones. They've got this one called grass-fed whey and they've got one called whey isolate. Okay, they're actually both grass-fed based proteins. One is, this one's a concentrate. The grass-fed whey is a concentrate. The other one's an isolate.
What's the difference between the two?
Isolate just basically means it's a pure form. You're going to be getting more protein per dose because they filtrated out more of the fats and
The carbohydrates. Which, by the way, in terms of carbohydrates, what's the name of the carbohydrate in there that they take out?
Well, mainly lactose.
Mainly lactose. It means that isolate is usually preferable for people that have intolerances to milk, right?
Yeah, I mean, so yes, if they're specifically lactose intolerant, you want something that's going to be an isolate. If we're talking about whey, there is other forms of protein you can get, like plant-based proteins and etc. Beef proteins, yeah. Yeah, egg protein actually, yeah, you don't see that around too much anymore. But so a couple things I want you to think about when you're getting protein is, does it have an NPN number? Okay, natural product, I think it stands for natural product number. And what that means is it's basically registered with the government, and in order to get an NPN number, you have to certify that what you have on the label is actually
what's inside.
Yeah. So now it doesn't guarantee, because you're not doing that for each batch, at least to my knowledge, you're not. You're just doing it for, you know, it's periodic. So, but at least there's a greater chance that things are exactly what they say. When you have a product with an NPN number, you can trust what's here. Okay. So remember by law, you can deviate, I believe it's up to 20 or maybe 20% from label claim. So
that makes it much purer.
Look for that NPN number.
Okay, you want to talk about the ingredients?
Yes, ingredients. You want something that's got as minimal ingredients as possible. Now, things will probably taste better if they've got 1 million ingredients in them. That's just the way it is, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You know, for this one, for instance, this is one reason why I really like this. This is so this is a grass-fed whey, so this is a whey concentrate, and that's the only medical ingredient. So we want to check the medical ingredients. Obviously, that's what they call it. This is because this is a whey protein. What makes up the whey protein? Well, it's 100% concentrate, pure grass-fed whey concentrate. But what are the other ingredients? The non-medical, they would call it organic flavor, xanthine gum, and organic stevia. So
the list is really short.
Very short. We've got 4 ingredients in this thing, and it tastes. I mean, I know for you, it's not like ISO Surge or whatever, or mutant birthday cake protein, but you get less essentially junk.
Yeah.
You get a better product.
Yeah,
I actually like the taste of this personally. I think it's really, really good.
Okay, and you also wanted to talk about purity.
Yeah, purity. So you want to look at the purity. So in terms of purity, you want to look at the serving size versus the amount of protein that you're getting. So in this case, we're getting 23 grams of protein per 30 grams. So not a bad purity, a little bit under 80%. If you got an isolate, it'll be more pure. You're gonna get more protein. It's more protein dense. So often people will say, they'll just look at the serving and they'll say how much protein, and that's what they'll look at. So they'll say, you know, maybe this serving size has more protein than another serving size, but what you want to compare are, in fact, the protein density.
That's right.
Because the serving size could be just a super, I mean, you could get a scoop that's, you know, this big, or you can get a scoop that's this big. And obviously if you get a scoop that's this big, you're gonna have more protein because you're getting more protein powder in that.
Right.
But it's really about the purity. So you want to just, again, serving size versus how much are you getting.
You know, actually, it reminds me also that when, you know, a lot of people think that when they have the protein powder, they just assume that it's all protein, right? So, so when you have a shake and everything, and it's like, okay, my scoop has 30 grams, I put 30 grams of protein powder in there, does not mean you got 30 grams of protein.
That's right.
Yeah, so when you're writing it down, you're going to look at the content, the protein content in there, and that's what you're going to write. You're going to write, I had 23 grams of protein.
Yes.
Yeah, and you also, we already mentioned the sources, but what about the protein sources?
So if I am going to recommend to somebody a protein source, I'm going to first recommend whey. And I recommend it because it's got a high biological value. It's going to have a high, just think about it as your body being able to utilize it. It has a high essential amino acid concentration.
And then that will be the case with actually all animal proteins, but
All
yes,
animal proteins.
That's correct.
Yes. You can also get vegetarian, right, which is commonly soy or pea protein.
Or a combination.
Or a combination. The downfall with vegetarian protein is that it's just less bioavailable. So you're going to excrete more of it. It's plant-based, and with plants you get these fibrous components that just don't digest. Well, I don't know if I want to say this or not. Well, it's just, you never see protein-based stuff in the toilet, really. Okay, you only see plant-based stuff. But the point is here is you're going to excrete more of that. You're just not going, as a protein supplement, you're excreting a portion of that. With whey, it's minimal to none. So, and the same with beef and the same with egg. But as I mentioned, essential amino acids, these are the ones that you can only get through your diet. You're gonna get higher amounts in whey. Okay, in particular, your branched chain amino acids, and I'll go even more particular, excuse me, I'm gonna stop saying the word particular. the amino acid leucine, which is really, really important for muscle recovery.
Yeah, that is missing from the vegetarian protein powders.
Message of the day?
Yes.
Okay, message of the day. Martina, you want to read this one out for us here?
Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts.
It's the courage to continue that counts. As I mentioned before in videos, the only way you will, quote, fail, or the only way you will stop making progress is if you stop trying. So things will happen, mistakes will happen. You've got to put that behind you, and you need to keep moving forward if your goal is important enough to you, right? And it just comes down to choice at the end of the day. It's just choice. And that's actually the great thing. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude, and we'll talk to you all next week.